live. All right, welcome back to our next set of interviews. So today we have the lovely Joyce with us today. Joyce is one of our members I'm quite fond of. We've been working together for quite a few months now, and I have personally seen a lot of manifestations come true for her and her self concept evolve and continue to flourish and not only change her life, but change the lives of the people that she's connected to. And she's a very the light of one of the many lights in our community. So, welcome, and I would like to get your perspective on the experience so far. We're here nor there. How you came across the channel. We could start there. How you first came across the channel. If you remember the specific video that you saw, that would be great. But I know it's pretty often people can't remember that. But what specifically did you, what made you make the jump from just watching videos to taking a step to join the community?
Oh, thank you for having me, Sean.
Welcome.
So last year was not the best year for me, and I was just
Mm,
going down that YouTube rabbit hole because of the whole SP journey, which I think a
mm-hmm.
lot of people are usually on. And I just kind of was exploring different YouTubers and their content on manifesting. I came across yours through a recommendation of a friend of mine. She actually knew of your videos and she said, well, he's a little bit different because he uses a lot of books and stuff, and I'm a bit nerdy, so I like that. And so I checked out your channel, and it was the video about the steps for SP, I think, and
Mm,
how the part that stood out the most was when you compared it to getting a job. And you're like, why would you go on their Instagram? Why would you look them up online? I mean, if you did that
right,
to your
right.
employer, they would think you're really weird. So I'm like, yeah, he makes a lot of sense with his analogies. And so I subscribed to your videos.
Mm,
I've watched your videos a lot, a lot of times. And even now, like whenever you come out with a new video, I watch it several times because I think there's a lot of messages in your videos. It just takes some time to process when you're new to this world. So yeah, so that's how I discovered you, and then I met some really cool people in your chats, like under the videos, and then you had the link to your school community, and that's how I kind of joined your community.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to hear. I always pride myself on making the journey a lot easier for other people since I went through the same process several years ago. And I wanted to convey my experience, not only just to get YouTube views, but to also help people who are on this journey and help make it more palatable and more digestible because there's a lot of esoteric terms thrown around, a lot of community terms thrown around, and it could be kind of confusing and intimidating. So I am grateful that that worked out for you in that way. But speaking of that, what was your understanding of manifestation and of self concept before we started working together?
So my understanding of manifesting was just say words out loud over and over again, and things will
Yeah.
magically appear like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I had done that with my SP when we first broke up, and I
Mm,
just
mm,
confirmed, and he did come back, but it didn't stick. It just
mm,
kind of like disappeared again. In fact, it made me feel a lot worse the second time. So I'm like, why did I
mm,
even affirm in the first place? We could have just parted ways and I would have been happy. So I think that was my understanding of manifesting, was just say stuff out loud, believe that it's going to happen, and it will. But then now I know better. That's not what manifesting is. That's more of desperation and just wanting to keep something.
exactly. Exactly. Life is about endless fulfillment, not just getting something and then losing it. And that's something that we pride in our community is not just the quick fix hacks, the 24-hour hacks, the 96-hour hacks. It's about actual fulfillment, getting the thing and keeping the thing. So that's wonderful that you were able to segue over into that without wasting too many months and years of your time trying to figure it out the hard way. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So, was there a specific breakthrough? That probably answered my question right there. Was there a specific breakthrough or a moment, an epiphany, where things started to kind of come a little bit, come together a lot differently for you in a more effective way?
I think losing my SP the second time,
Mm,
that's when I
mm,
realized that I'm not doing something right.
mm,
And I think there were more. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from you is that we have to change first in order to kind of attract the things in our life. And I didn't get that initially because, like I said,
mm,
initially I saw affirmations as manifesting and me being happy with whatever the outcome from that can be. But it's the realization came from, why am I losing him again? What is it that I can't keep him around? Is
mm,
it
mm.
me? And I went inwards. Am I the problem? So I think that's when that realization came into fruition.
Definitely, definitely. And we all come to this space through love. I think the majority of people, maybe 95% of people, whether they're trying to rekindle a relationship they already had or try to find new love, we come because of this. A lot of people come into the manifestation, whether it's through The Secret or through Neville Goddard or through Joseph Murphy, Florence Scovel Shinn. And then we realize that the playing field is a lot larger, that this is connected, like you said, it's not just affirmations, it's connected to how you see yourself and how these beliefs are being reflected back to you, not only by the people you love but by your colleagues, your friends, your family. And speaking of that, you have a very large manifestation that happened. You had a lot of small ones as well, but you have a very large manifestation that I was witness to. Would you like to share that with everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had been in school for a long, long time, and I had gotten sick, so I had to take some time off and kind of rebuild myself again. So I was attempting to get into my dream job, which is in medicine, and I didn't match last year, and I think that's why my depression and all that stuff came in, and
Mm,
also the
mm,
SP stuff that was happening. And then I think I had a moment, just maybe around September, October, where I'm like, I have to think differently. There's something that's not working out. It's not just SP anymore, it's other aspects of my life too. And you also taught me about planting the seed and then kind of growing your garden. And I think it was when you started teaching me things about being general but also being specific. It sounds a little
mm.
bit hard to understand because you're like, how can you be general but also specific?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
paradox. Yeah.
doesn't make sense. But you explained it like with the how and the when that you cannot be specific about. And you kind of have to let that go. And that's when my manifestation came in because I wanted to get it in the first round this year and I didn't get it. But I just recently realized I got it in the second round because I don't have a contract to sign. I'm actually free of the contract. I'm not bounded to stay in one particular area. And now it all clicked because if I was so specific and I'm like, no, it has to happen at this time, it has to happen in this particular place, I think the universe had a greater plan for me. And I'm very grateful for you to teach me that we can be general but also specific at the same time.
Exactly, exactly. Wonderful breakdown. And you're right. The universe always has a greater plan, but it's still the plan that we want. You know, it's just a better way of delivering it, and the possibilities open up. And as you pointed out, your subconscious sees things that we don't see, and it's just like a GPS system. We set the coordinates, and then we just trust it to get us there. But sometimes if we jump out there, then we end up taking a wrong turn, thinking that we can see things that that are out there that we can't, that the subconscious can't see, and it doesn't work like that. And then we end up running into roadblocks and setbacks and things of that nature. So trusting this entire mechanism is not like always trusting another human being.
Yeah.
It's trusting infinite intelligence to bring us something that we deserve and that we know that belongs to us. So again, congratulations for
Yeah.
that. I remember the whole
Thank
community was
you.
jumping up and down when you were able to
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
get over that hump. So yeah, what tools are your favorite tools so far within the community, or any specific teachings that you can recall off the top of your head?
The subliminals are amazing. At first, they made me very angry, and I think it was more so I was angry with myself.
Yeah.
Just parts of me I think I didn't address, and I think the subliminals kind of brought that to surface. They still make me angry sometimes about SP, but it's more like, let's just move on kind of thing. But they've
Right.
helped me a
Right.
lot. How to reprogram my mind and also how to react to things in my 3D in a more calm, collective way. And in terms of teachings, I think the power of Kabbalah, as everyone in the community speaks highly of, That has been amazing. And I'm slowly kind of going into the Hermetic principles as well. Neville Goddard is great, but I feel like it's a little bit overdone. So it's nice to explore other options as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's more than one way to get to the truth, and I like to
Yeah.
see that put the pieces of the puzzle together, and everything can make sense. You start to see the pattern recognition, and a lot of that will
Mhm.
give you that faith that in the unseen when you start to see that they're all connected and all saying the same thing just in a slightly different way because they were put out in a different culture in a different continent a different time of the world and whatever was going on in that time period. Whereas now we, as human beings, probably have access to knowledge more than any other iteration of humankind, of any civilization before. And now we can bring all of this ancient technology, all this ancient knowledge in tandem with modern technology in order to expand our consciousness. Wonderful.
And I also want to say,
Yeah.
for those who kind of see manifesting as woohoo and it's kind of like magical and it doesn't really make sense, because I'd like to think I'm a very objective, pragmatic individual. And I had issues with that as well. I'm like, I can't believe this happens. This doesn't exist. This is weird. But there is so much evidence that kind of backs up the esoteric knowledge too through quantum mechanics and quantum theory. And I think that's something you also bring to your teachings or how you kind of present your material. And just recently, like you spoke about the double slit experiment and stuff like that, it's really cool. It's really nice to incorporate both because then you have that evidence that backs up that esoteric principle as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Love it. So, segueing into the community, since you were a big part of that as of late, how do you feel about the support that you've gotten there? And what would you describe as the overall energy and feel of it's like to be behind the scenes of here nor there after you've saw the YouTube videos and now you're kind of in the back scenes, behind the scenes rather, with like-minded individuals? How would you describe the energy so far?
Acceptance. I think no matter how many times you can ask the SP question, there's always someone out there who will answer you. So
Right,
it feels
right.
like an overdone thing because everyone's been through it so many times. But the community is still very accepting and very patient, and they understand that everyone's starting somewhere. So no one's going to scold you or make you feel bad for that. And that's what you get from the community.
Yeah, no gatekeeping, no gatekeeping at all. Wonderful, wonderful. So, last question I have for you: what would you say for that person that's still sitting on the fence, that still doesn't think this might be effective from them, that maybe took a coaching program before and they weren't satisfied? But why would here nor there be any different? Why would this YouTuber be any different? What would you say to them to comfort them or to give them a little bit more reassurance that this is the right step?
I think you should be open to trying new things. And I think your approach is very different. And there are a lot of YouTubers out there or other coaches who do speak about esoteric principles, but I think your approach is very, it's academic, but it's also very pragmatic in the sense that you take a principle and like a woo principle and you back it up with evidence and
Right.
then you give it time to let things unfold. And I think it's worth a shot to give it a try.
Yes.
It's because I mean, if you don't try it, you'll never know. So that's just kind of my advice to anyone who's sitting on the fence.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the pragmatic approach that I like to take, I like to lean more into the science. And a part of science is experimentation. You
Yeah,
have to actually experiment. And that's what I always pride people on. These laws work, manifestation works, self concept works, but you have to try it and see. You have to try it for yourself. And then you'll see
yeah.
that everything that everybody's saying, people who are living today and people who lived 100 years ago and centuries ago are all saying the same thing. And life becomes quite beautiful when you accept that. So
It does.
thank you again. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes when we have larger manifestations and we're not seeing the proof, it feels awful because I'm kind of in it with one aspect, but I have seen another aspect of my life kind of blossom. And I think that's why the pragmatic approach is important because it does work. You just have to have faith. But that's pragmatic side that tells you, no, don't have faith, you need proof and all that stuff. But I think you
Yeah.
do a really good job reassuring both type of thinkers, the ones that are feelers, the ones that are doers and the ones who do both. So,
Exactly.
or,
Exactly. I like to think that because I use that term all the time, woo, and I like to think that you remove the woo when you actually apply these things when you're executing.
yeah,
Because a lot of times with spirituality, people are into the knowledge and absorbing the knowledge and the techniques and not actually applying it. And when you actually apply it and
yeah,
experiment, it's no longer woo; it becomes science. So wonderful.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, Joyce, once again, congratulations on your own personal
Thank you.
manifestations. And thank you so much for being a part of our community. And I'm sure somebody's going to see this and they're going to join us simply because of your warm energy and your just wonderful energy and what you bring to the community. So, thank you once again.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you.
All right.